I have been seeing this story all over my feed for a couple of months now. The story of Caroline Miller, 26-year-old Caucasian woman, and Mahendra Patel, 56 years old, Indian American. This story took place back in March 25th this year. And of course, there's so much news, it's really difficult to keep up because this year has been just enormous in terms of news. I guess I would say the last couple of years. But anyway, I never really paid attention. This is the age of cameras everywhere, you know, and inside of Walmart where there are people everywhere, this person must be like completely out of it. I'm like, okay, I'm not even gonna, well, I'm sure the person has been arrested. So, but you know, move on to other stories. But then I watched this video of this guy who did this amazing take from the beginning till now. So this gentleman comes to the pharmacy area and he sees this mother, Caroline Miller, 26-year-old, mother of two-year-old, and I guess 4-year-old. They're all, both of them are sitting on her lap in this scooter. Of course, this scooter is designed for people with disabilities while they're shopping. She's not disabled, yet she's using this because eventually later on she would say, my kids like it. I don't know if she was thinking this is a, you know, a little theme park moment. But anyway, I digress. So he comes up to her and he asks her where the Tylenol is. The video, you see him kind of shifting forward, almost like if he was touching the child. And then a few seconds later, about 10 seconds later, he walks away. Later on, you see her in another aisle. So her and this guy, the Walmart employee, it's not obvious him being an employee at the time. He's just wearing an orange shirt with shorts, are chatting and talking, and then all of a sudden her younger child falls off of the scooter, and this gentleman helps the child with her. And later we would learn that Mr. Patel kind of did the same thing because the child, as she was directing him to where the Tylenol is, was falling off of her lap, and he helped her kind of stabilize the child. There's no panic, everything looks fine. You know, nothing crazy that says, oh my God, this evil man just tried to wrestle my child off of my lap. Nothing like that. All seems well. 30 minutes later, she calls 911 and reports.
She lived every parent's worst nightmare after police say someone tried to kidnap her child.
Atlanta News First, Bridget Spencer's live tonight at the Cobb County Jail. Bridget, this happened while they were at a Walmart.
Blair and Carly, this certainly is something this mother would like to forget. Tonight I talked to her and she walked us through those terrifying moments where she thought she was going to lose her child.
Did someone try to take you from mommy?
Yeah.
Caroline Miller's trip to Walmart last week with her two children, Nova and Jude, started off pretty normal.
Nova, of course, wanted to ride the little motorized cart, so that's what we got on, and it actually ended up breaking down.
She says a man then walked over to her in one of the aisles.
So that's when the man came up to me and asked, do you know where the Tylenol is? And I was like, oh, it's over there. And as soon as I did that, that's when he just picked him up out of my arms.
Miller says she then played a terrifying game of tug-of-war for about 10 seconds, which felt like an eternity.
And then he just stared at me and then goes, oh, I just wanted to get him out of your lap so you could get up and help me.
Police say it was this man, 56-year-old Mahendra Patel. Ackworth police tracked him down and arrested him after he left the Walmart.
There really are people out here and then a mile radius of us right now that have ill intentions, that are targeting people, that are planning to do these things. Just be prepared for it when it does.
As we watch the video, you can see him not finding the Tylenol. He asks another gentleman, which is something I do all the time because you cannot always find an employee in every aisle. And I don't know how many times people have directed me to the right aisle or the right place. You see him asking another person where the Tylenol is, and he finally gets directed, gets the Tylenol, comes back and sees the lady with her kids again, and he shows her the Tylenol, and she gives him thumbs up. Mind you, this time she's still around that gentleman with the orange shirt, and she never said anything. Oh my God, this creepy guy tried to take my child away from me, you know. Never said anything like that. So you see him buying his Tylenol, paying it with his debit card, with his name on it, you know. Of course, by this time, the stories everywhere, you know. Horrific man tries to steal a child inside of Walmart. And she has been interviewed by different news outlets and everything. And the police sees all of that on camera. Instead of coming back to her, confronting her, they go and arrest Mr. Patel. Mr. Patel is a former engineer who had an early retirement. He owns a lot of properties in the area. One of these properties is a daycare with a lot of kids. They even went to the daycare and gave this daycare owner almost a heart attack, because now she's afraid that all these parents will pull their children off of her daycare because of who owns this daycare. And she says, you know, we have no problems with him. He just comes and collects his rent, and you know, now they go overboard and build this tent in front of the daycare. So when kids are being picked up by their parents, you know, although Mr. Patel is already in jail, I don't know what they were thinking. Were they thinking maybe he has helpers, you know, so they won't see the children being picked up and recognize their face and maybe go to their home and, you know, steal these children? It's just, the whole thing is just ridiculous. All the people that went nuts in the beginning before we saw the video are now saying, why was this man ever arrested? My God, what is going on? If the police have seen this video, why was this man ever arrested?
Police Mahendra Patel. He's the man arrested and charged by Acworth police for attempted kidnapping at a Walmart store here in this video. But the committee says the video evidence released by his attorney clearly shows his innocence. Fox 5's Eric Mock is live. Eric, you spoke one-on-one with the chair about this. What did he have to say?
Yeah, Essence Johnson, Eric, did say that in no uncertain terms that they are calling for the immediate release of Patel based on that surveillance footage released by his attorney. Now, we first reported to you back in March about Acworth police arresting and charging 56-year-old Mahendra Patel for allegedly trying to snatch a toddler from its mother's arms. But Patel's attorney, Ashley Merchant, has since shared surveillance video from the Walmart that appears to show Patel calmly asking the mother of the toddler about Tylenol, and then later calmly exiting the store. Now, that's why Johnson says she and the Democratic committee are calling on Cobb County District Attorney Sonia Allen to drop all charges against him.
So my demands are him to be released, his charges to be dropped, and his record to be sealed.
We checked Cobb County inmate records. Patel is still in the jail and has been incarcerated there for more than 40 days. We reached out to Acworth police about this case. We're waiting to hear back from them today. But when we first reported about this surveillance video on April 18th, they told us they were aware of this and said it was a partial video that was being released, and then would only say that a grand jury indicted Patel on attempted kidnapping, simple battery, and simple assault.
And to make matters worse, why is his bail being denied? After 40 plus days, he's out on bail. Out on bail. The case has not been dropped yet. This is a man who has deep ties into the community, who is a beloved figure, who, you know, had an amazing career, a father and husband with clean record, and such a decent human being. Here he is.
How does it feel?
I feel great. It's a freedom that's called now. Finally, I'm out.
How does it feel being able to walk outside, be with your family, with your daughters?
It feels great. It feels great. It could not happen without all these guys right here in my circle. You didn't help me.
What was it like all that time, those 6 weeks you were in there?
Well, you know, I'm a perseverance guy, so you got to take it one day at a time. Lot of ups and downs in the days, but I knew we had a team outside helping me. So one day we'll see the light out, and then we see it today.
Yeah, put it in perspective. I asked if he had clothes, and he said, "Well, I have winter clothes because I went into jail. It was
That's
still
right.
winter."
Yeah, this
I
is
mean,
it. And I have a jacket actually too, black jacket, because that day it was in the 40s when I got picked up.
Yeah.
So like I don't even have clothes even. Yeah, it was a tough time over there, but.
What was your reaction when you got arrested?
I said that, you know, I cannot even dream about somebody alleging me for doing this kind of thing. Forget about me dreaming to do this. So it was a shocker. In fact, I didn't even realize why they were arresting me in the first place. And they took me in Ackworth. And that's when I realized that this is what it was all about. I thought they had the wrong guy or something. So we had no idea.
But he wants to go home and, you know, eat a home-cooked meal and be with his family and get a shower.
Yeah, even with all of that, he kept the faith. This woman have not been heard from ever since the video came to light. I don't know what she was thinking. She obviously is not very bright, because what was she thinking? This is Walmart. There are cameras everywhere. Surely she must have thought about this whole thing. Well, obviously she did not. But guess what? She has done this before. Back in 2019, she claimed an essay was committed against her by a Lyft driver. I'm almost certain this Lyft driver was a brown guy, brown or black. And 2021, she filed a suit against Lyft, and it's still ongoing. I wonder if people like Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire, I wonder if they did a video about this, you know, since they claim there's just no racism, because there's no other way of seeing this than either she's completely insane and her insanity only kicks in against brown people or black people, or she's just an evil, racist person. I'm not the kind of person who really wastes any time on this racism and all that stuff. I know it exists. It has happened to me. It happens every day. But the way I look at it, people have their preferences and whatever, you know. You might not like me because I'm wearing the hijab, or because I'm, you know, brown or black, or, you know, or because I'm an immigrant. You just don't have the right to hurt me. Otherwise, just because you don't like me, I don't think you should lose your career or, you know, livelihoods or anything like that. So I know people like Matt Walsh, people who claim there is just no such a thing, but now have turned it around and said that, oh yeah, there's no racism, but there's reverse racism against white people. If there's no racism, then how could there be a reverse racism? The whole thing is bizarre. But anyway, like, what goes through the head of this kind of person? You know, to retroactively think about hurting another human being who has done nothing to her. In fact, he tried to help because her child was about to fall off of the scooter when she freed one of her hands to point where the Tylenol was. And she said, I got it, and then that's it, you know. Why would someone do something like that? Who does that? What kind of a person? With all of that, you know, nothing happening. Decent exchange. People helping people. Where is that? Here it is, and over there, and, you know, just every day it happens when we go shopping. You know, people look at each other, smile at each other, and say hello, you know, small talks and help each other. Who turns all of that around and says, I think, between these two guys, this brown guy and this white guy, they both did the same thing. They helped me when my child was about to fall off the scooter. And but I need to accuse one of them for the most horrific crime, or one of the most horrific crimes, because, let's face it, what was he going to do with this child once he steals it? Imagine if there were no cameras. Imagine if this man ran into this woman in a park. Obviously, we all carry cameras on our phones, but, it misses a lot, because by the time you think about, oh my God, I need to capture this, half of the story or the context is half gone, you know what I mean? So, but what are we going to do now? Are we going to all wear GoPros? I have one. I've never used it. It's brand new. Maybe I need to start wearing it on my forehead. But there are also other small cameras that you can carry, like, just kind of buckle it up here. It's insane. That tells you, wherever you are, you cannot even be a good Samaritan anymore. You cannot even help people, because the very person you went out of your way to help can label such heinous accusations against you that can completely destroy your life. I mean, think about this man. If there were no cameras, what do you think would happen? His family would have been in danger. His businesses would be shut down. He would be, I don't know, facing 40 years. She didn't even appear, on arraignment when he was getting bailed out. She disappeared. Oof. It seems to me she is more of a loose cannon and a danger to the community than this man has ever been. I wonder if there will be any charge labeled against her, because she needs to be sued. Everyone who files fake charges, regardless of their background, like that Smollett guy, people like that need to go to jail. They need to be bankrupt. They need to be ostracized. I don't naturally believe in this kind of things, like going after people because they are racist or they, don't like one community or another. I have no issue with people having their preferences and prejudices. It's part of, I think, as far as I'm concerned, it's part of the human condition and and human nature. But no one has the right to go out of their way to destroy human beings for no apparent reason other than because they look different from them. That woman was smiling at this guy, it was like, it was all friendly. How many people do we have this type of exchanges every day? Yet they despise us for no other reason but because of the way we look. Think about that. This is truly saddening, I think for the most part, I like to believe that the majority of human beings are decent people. But there are people so evil, so driven to just want to destroy others because of what they look like, because they're different from them.